What job do you have that people might not even know exists? I attempt to read addresses on mail that machines can't. So basically you take those captcha tests all day long and get paid for it. You know those fire evacuation maps that are entirely useless because no one's gonna stop and look at a map on their way out of a burning building? Yeah. I design those. I read those. Although you should put one opposite the toilet. Then everyone would have them memorized. This is actually totally true. Although instructions would need to start from leaving the toilet. I've been doing closed captioning for over a decade. Most people think voice recognition software does it. Not humans. I used to make fake children's art for a TV show set in a kindergarten classroom. Every episode had new themed art. Real kids aren't good enough artists. Sorry kids. I program simple video games for monkeys. Complete with a joystick and pellet dispenser. Call of Duty? Edit. Thank you for the gold X2. Less complicated. Like Madden. You know those big companies with millions of fans on Facebook and Twitter and such. You know when they make a new post and it gets like 2k plus comments in 30 minutes which have tons of spam and swear words and inappropriate content. I had a job where I would read over all of the comments and clear them according to guidelines set by the client. Official job name, online moderator. Fancy job name, social media specialist. Edit, format. Oh man, I used to be a social media manager for my university. That job was so boring. But it paid pretty well. The only real highlight was the legitimately funny comments. And trying to get rid of persistent bots or auto follower programs. Then some guy at the information sciences school wrote a script that did about 90% of my job to only a slightly lower quality level. I'm an IT guy at a Buddhist retreat center. People tend to forget that pretty much everyone needs an IT guy. As a teenager, I used to clean tombs. And it wasn't too creepy as I used to imagine. Are you the guy who lights the torches and leaves the fresh fruit in the Skyrim tombs? I usually leave before dark. But sure. I shoot birds at the airport. This is a thing. I work at an airport and I also am a pilot and I've not heard of this. He's self-employed. Edit, my first gold. Thanks stranger. I breed button mushrooms in an abandoned mine in western PA. I have been writing fortune cookies for over a year. People usually don't believe me when I tell them this. Do you actually write fortunes or those crappy ones that are more like statements? I'm not pleased when I crack open one of those bad boys and I'm greeted with a half-assed people like you. My last fortune redo or do not. There is no try. I'm thinking Disney's already got a lawsuit in the works. I work in a call center. In America. Do you call people in India? Only when I need customer service from Comcast. I used to have a job that I got paid $10 per hour to watch college football and basketball games and use software to tag every play. And put comments on what happened. I even got to rate the plays based on 1-4 on how cool it was. Pretty sure it was for some company that made highlight reels or something. I don't know. Sheet was crazy. Still can't believe that was a real job. Edit, I actually found this job on Craigslist. For people asking. I had like 10 different jobs between ages 15-20. I just hated regular jobs. Pizza guy. Whatever, so I was always looking for new jobs on there. Check out the etc part of the jobs. There is usually some different stuff on there. At least in my city. My job title is a tissue recovery specialist. I cut bones, tendons, organs, and brains out of dead bodies on a daily basis. How does one get into this industry? Half curious, half serious. I get paid to be a living mannequin. No. Not a model that poses in pictures. Gets her makeup done. And gets put in magazines. I'm a completely different type of model. I work behind the scenes. In the warehouse, designers for huge chain stores will use my frame to show off their looks to the CEO of the company who approves or rejects the looks. Clothing on a mannequin looks totally different on a real person. I'm a sound effects librarian for films, TV, commercials, and games. Basically, I maintain a high quality searchable database of every sound you could possibly imagine so that they can be used in whatever entertainment medium we're working on. We've got everything from military aircraft to superhero fight sounds. Footsteps on almost any surface in almost any type of shoe. Nearly every type of gum out there, whatever is needed for the work we do. The fun part is that I get to run around recording custom stuff for many of the shows. Most recently with some really high-end cars and a few surround sound ambiances from various places around the state that I live in. It's almost like taking a vacation for work every few weeks. I drive trains. You'd be surprised how many people don't think trains even exist anymore or think it's a dying industry. We're moving more freight than ever. I noticed they have a guy that pulls out a hanky out of his suit jacket to wipe down the pole at the strip club. I wondered to myself, what did he have to do to get that job? Edit, a word. More like what did he do to have to do that job? You know when your local organized crime group is like pay us. Or else? This is a possible or else. I paint gym floors. If you painted the ceilings they'd call you an artist. My job is to discover new fashion brands for the masses. Basically, I travel to shop for a living. I handle legal cases involving bird law. Professional cheese roller. I'm a professional lavatory specialist. I give people permission to go to the bathroom. First I have to gauge the need and compare it to the event that is occurring at the same time to assess whether the bathroom request is allowed. Or should it be delayed for greater use of time. When I'm not doing that, I try to teach some 9th grade English. I used to conduct high fidelity simulation studies in a hospital environment. Meaning we'd set up a lab to look and feel like a real IQ and bring in medical staff to run through scenarios as if it was the real thing. We'd watch and record usability issues with devices used. And write reports to submit to medical authorities. It was a really cool job but was difficult to explain. I walk up and down city streets inspecting trees planted and or maintained by municipalities for damage, risk factors, condition, diseases, pests, and structural issues. I get to talk to a lot of homeowners, homeless people, a few cops, a few hookers, and generally every other order of mankind considering I walk about 4-6 miles each day from tree to tree spanning any neighborhood in whatever city I get assigned to for my company, usually 1-3 month travel assignments with one long weekend a month to fly drive home that gets paid for. I can identify about 300 species of trees and woody shrubs, most of which are native to Eastern North America. On my off time, I climb trees for fun. Using ropes and a seat harness of course. And, sometimes I even bring my camera with me. I scatter rose petals in 5-star hotels in the Sydney CBD for honeymooners and wedding nights. I label seating maps for venues with different price categories according to which event it is. So when you're buying tickets you can correlate the seat numbers with the map. Edit, no I did not set the prices to the concerts you go to. I have already said I am a graphic designer. The amount of uneducated wankers commenting about their shitty ticket prices for concerts. And shitty seating locations. What are you even doing? Composer, but not of film or video games, well, not primarily. Anyway, I write music for all sorts of settings. Including marching band, live theater, and of course, the concert hall. Orchestras, bands, chamber music. It's hard for me to gauge. But it seems a lot of the population view composers as mythical figures, with only 3 or 4 per generation. But in reality there are dozens of us. Dozens. I work in genealogical research. When someone dies without a will, I trace the family tree back, often to late 1800s, early 1900s. Then trace it back to the present until I find all the living relatives. Or if someone is named in a will and no one knows where they are, I try to track them down so they can get their money. I'm a train traffic operator, not the engine driver. I'm not even on a train. Seldom people know what I do. They can guess what I do from the title of the profession. But even here in Switzerland, the world's leading country in terms of train usage, no one really knows of my job. You get into a train. The engineer takes you from A, B, and that's all people see. But there are also guys just like in aviation, air traffic operators, dispatching, overlooking, steering the trains, for example, around delayed trains, around building sites, interruptions. Ensure your cell phone doesn't emit too much radiation. Medical lab tech. Not a doctor. Not a nurse. And not a phlebotomist. I am still baffled that people know what a phlebotomist is, but then apparently assume that they hand the blood to the doctor and call it done. You've heard of Nielsen television ratings? I tell Nielsen what we're airing so they can produce the ratings. Every US network is required to do it.